You are now listening to Scheduling Fate, hosted by author and counseling astrologer Jamie McGee. For more information, please go to schedulingfate.com. Hi there, and welcome back. Now, if you have already watched me talk about manifestation, I've released a few videos so far. You can skip this next part and go right to where we're going to start talking about Mars. The timestamp's going to be underneath there. Or, of course, you can listen to it again. You always usually get more information the second time around. Either way, I'm good. All right, here we go. This is going to be a series of videos, and in this series, we're going to touch on how your unique, one of a kind birth chart and the transits, where the planets are now, influence how you naturally manifest and attract things to you. Now, I say touch on because both manifestation and your natal promise are vastly deep topics. We could talk for months and years on end just about one element in your chart or how to manifest. But if you have a copy of your birth chart, please keep it close during the series. If you do not have a copy, you can get a free one on my site. The link is right below this broadcast. Now, I've also created a free PDF booklet that will help you work through some of the concepts that we're talking about now. And it's designed so that even if you know nothing about astrology, you'll be able to use the keywords to gain self understanding and hopefully awareness about how you both consciously and unconsciously manifest circumstances or material objects into your life. In the comments, I would love to know how easy you find it to manifest right now, and of course, what your sun sign is. All right, so let's dive into this topic. Now, whether this is the first time we have crossed paths or if you have been a long time follower, thank you. I want to say that with certainty that unconsciously or consciously, you're on a path of self discovery. And it is my hope that I can help inspire you on your journey and help you appreciate how far you've come. And more than likely, I would say that you have experienced some kind of life quake, some kind of shakeup or some kind of breakup or breakdown or breakthrough, which in turn triggered the path that you are on now and inspired this need to look within, but also look without, look at the world that you find yourself standing in. So take a second to appreciate how far you've come, no matter how hard it was or it seems right now. As you're thinking about this, I want you to appreciate that it's all worth it. It's worth what is waiting for you at the other end of this path. Show gratitude. It's one of the important steps of manifestation. One of the biggest gifts of astrology is foresight. It's a calendar, it's timing. It's a practice that reveals when these life quakes are coming, how long they're going to last, when they're going to end, the topics and area of life that you could be experiencing these in, and what they could influence. Now, however, the awareness is only half the battle. Surrendering and trusting the outcome of this life shift and having good intentions about how you want it to unfold for you. And of course, the willingness to be a student of life and open to change. That is the real challenge right there. That is something that is a lot of internal work, not external work. And especially this is especially difficult when it comes to relationships, your status, your core values, anything that has to do with your earning or how you support and protect your family. It's just shake when you have shakeups in these areas, it's very hard to focus on positive outcomes. I know that. Trust me, I completely understand that. But that's exactly when we are meant to grow through the challenge. And you have everything you need to grow through whatever you're handling right now. Now, with that being said, staying positive, really thinking forward, it could be something that your birth chart may not be geared toward doing that easily. You may not be the type of person that naturally sees the positive side of things in general, or perhaps you have always been the person who has seen the positive side. You've always had that smile and say, you know what, it's just another day. We're going to get through it. But you went through a life quake, you went through a big change, and now it's very hard for you to keep your hopes up because no matter how high you hold them, things still seem to be changing, even if you don't want them to change. In either case, I think a good mantra to walk with is this too shall pass. It's a good one to hold on to during those hard times. And I also want you to keep in mind that you are meant to grow with your birth chart, to dance with the challenges and the opportunities. And the cosmic transits, how the sky moves and speaks to that moment of your birth, really helps you paint a beautiful canvas of awareness and soul growth. So, kind of see it as soul growth. I'm going through this, but I'm growing and it's going to be worth it. And what's interesting about both astrology and manifestation is that whether you quote believe in them or are aware of them, they are always in action in your life. So self awareness is a valuable tool. Now, astrology is energy, but it's also a measure of time. Everything has its seasons. Manifestation is focused attention and actions that bring desires into your reality. It can also bring needs into your reality. But what about the unfocused attention or when it feels like you are swimming upstream, desperately trying to hold on to a relationship, a job, but you can't stop the ending despite how much you go through the positivity steps and thinking about what you want to bring into your life? Does that mean that you are manifesting incorrectly? Absolutely not. It simply means the universe has bigger plans, which call for bigger shifts, and it knows that you deserve better, which can be hard to accept. Trust me, I know. However, this is where astrology and self awareness and a deeper dive into manifestation can help you. Manifestation is, in short, bringing your desires and goals and dreams into reality through focus, intention, and positive thinking. I think I've said that a few times already, but this is done by clear intentions. This is something that you'll hear me say around new moons. Let's set some clear intentions, defining your goals and visualizing them. It's done with a positive mindset, believing that this is yours, affirming that it's yours, speaking in that Aries word, I am this, I am that, this is mine, and taking action toward the goal that you want to bring into your life and staying open. And what I mean by staying open is I mean saying yes, even if it scares you. Yes, I'll do this because it's an action step toward the manifestation that you're trying to bring into your life. And of course, it's all about gratitude. That's step 4. Having a gratitude for what you have, appreciating the tiniest thing that you bring into your life because that raises your vibration and allows you to bring in even more. And the last step of manifestation is letting go, releasing the outcome, trusting that you don't need to understand how it's going to happen, just believing that it will happen. And then stepping back and avoiding obsession, constantly worrying about how it can happen, when it's going to happen, what happens if it doesn't happen. Those are things that can definitely block you. No matter what your zodiac sign is, that last one can be one of the more challenging ones. If you ask the universe for a healthy relationship and instead you face a breakup, or if you ask to be a part of a successful company that's going to change the world and instead you're let go without warning, it's not that your manifestation or the universe is ignoring you. Instead, it's removing what is blocking you from what you desire. Now, if you're listening to me and you're thinking to yourself, Jamie, you're crazy. I didn't ask for this. I didn't ask for what I'm going through, but everything still fell apart. It still crumbled without warning. I would tell you that you are more than likely feeling the impact of a transit speaking to your chart, to that natal promise, that intention that your lifetime has. And this energy's purpose is to help you reach your karmic goals in this lifetime. In other words, on an unconscious, soul deep level, you've asked for this change. And I completely understand how hard that is to accept at the moment. But I assure you, in hindsight, you will see that there was a purpose, there was a plan, and there was divine timing. Now, one of the biggest pitfalls I see when I work with clients is surrendering and not attaching a name, a person, or a specific job or title to any intention. Now, what I mean by that is say that you want to have a relationship with this person, or you want to work with this company, or you want to do, you name it, insert it. And the universe is like, "What? Why? That company's gonna go bankrupt, or this person has infidelity issues. You want this kind of relationship. This person doesn't match that. It has a different viewpoint." So, not attaching specific names, people, or places to your manifestations is definitely gonna help you say yes to those things that are scary and trust that what is being let go of is being let go of for a reason. And that's a very big Plutonian energy that a lot of us are working with right now in our charts. Now, another big pitfall, and I have done this myself, is not understanding or trusting the breakdown and doing everything in your power, including making yourself really small, over compromising just to hold a situation together. Now, the thing is, the universe doesn't want you to surrender who you are or play small. That is not the name of the game. And if you have a lot of fixed placements, if like Taurus, Leo, or Scorpio, or Aquarius, you are going to struggle the most with letting go of something that has hit its expiration date. You use a lot of discernment when you bring things into your life. So letting go of them is not something that you do easily because you really thought that you saw everything coming and you didn't see this curve coming down the road, or you don't really want to start all over again because you put so much work into the situation you're already in. Now, those of you who have cardinal sign placements like Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn, you have no trouble taking action toward goals that you want, but you may have trouble holding on to the vision, doing those action steps after saying this is the launch point, because you're constantly inspired to go and begin something else. Now, those of you with mutable energy like Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces, you could easily struggle one moment with manifestation and then excel at it in the next. You may be really focused on the past or really focused on the future or sitting on the fence, not really sure which way you want to go because your energy is always changing. It's mutable. It's in a status between what was and what will be. Now, the thing is, no matter what signs the planets that you have are in, all the zodiac signs are in your chart. And by transit, what was once easy will be hard, and what was once hard will be easy at some point in your life. That's the beauty of the universe. Knowing your timing and being self-aware of the highest and lowest energetic levels of the planets in your chart will help you pivot and trust those changes. Trust what you are manifesting and that there's a process to it that you are not completely aware of. There's always things at work to bring things to you. Another great thing is by being self-aware, it's also going to help you realize what you are unconsciously calling into your life and how to get out of your own way. Of course, it will also help you realize what you easily call into your life without any effort and how you could use what you get easily to soothe over those more challenging areas. And the reason all of this is so important is because the universe is constantly validating what you believe or know about yourself, that one of a kind energy. It's a valuable tool. Astrology helps you fall in love with your energy and recognize your challenges and helps you think about how you can work around this energy to manifest what you desire into your life. Now, the very first time I was introduced to what we call manifestation, I didn't call it manifestation. It was called prayer. Now, I'm a lover of words and I appreciate that semantics can burn bridges or build them. So, I want to explain what my early experience was when I say manifestation and prayer. I was taught at a very young age to talk to God. I was taught to express my gratitude and to ask, to request what I wanted God to bring into my life. I was taught to do this alone in quiet contemplation, but I was also taught to do it in community. We prayed when times were hard for them to get easier. And when times were good, we prayed to give thanks. We actually prayed to give thanks even when times were hard. So to me, prayer meant being conscious of who I am, where I am, and what I aspire to be, and having the faith that no matter how impossible it seemed, no matter how many breakdowns had to happen for a breakthrough, it would happen as intended in perfect divine timing. Now, as I got older and really dug into more theology and metaphysics and astrology, I was fascinated with the idea that we are all truly one of a kind. There is not another soul on the planet that has your birth chart that can see the world as you do. You have a one of a kind perspective and energy. Now, in the same time frame of understanding all this metaphysical energy, the whole idea of manifestation and positive thought became very popular in our society. And I always respected the process because to me, it was prayer, intentionally living, co creating, having faith. However, with my knowledge of astrology and knowing how original we all are, it was hard for me to understand how one concept could be universal. Now, my current mindset, I like to give myself permission to learn and change my mind in the future, is that the concept of conscious manifestation is universal, the law of attraction. But how we engage this energy is unique to our soul. Now, what do I mean by this? The way you use your planets is unique to you. You may have the same general dislikes or likes as those who have the same planet in the same house in the same sign, but your cosmic blueprint, how you connect all of your energies, is yours alone, which means that the way that you engage or perceive this universal concept is not necessarily universal. Now, here's an example. We often hear how important it is to have a calm mind, to sit in meditation, to clear your thoughts, to visualize what you're trying to bring in, which could be very valuable for some people. However, if I told someone with a Mars and Aries to sit still and to clear their head mind, they would go absolutely mad. It would cause more stress and leave them feeling like they were doing something wrong or out of step, when in truth, they were just approaching this universal concept from the wrong direction. If you have a Mars in Aries, you find rest in action. Moving your body makes you happy. It calms your mind, it calms your energy, gives you inner peace and that ability to visualize, raise your energy levels, and attract what you want into your life. All of this reminds me of that quote that everyone is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will spend its whole life believing it's stupid. There is a way that you are meant to manifest, and you can unlock that in your planets. So, by understanding your natural energy, you will understand how you naturally manifest and how you can get in or out of your way. Now, sometimes this will mean leaning into the strength of a planet in your chart, and others it means overcoming a challenge that the planet brings. Those challenges are not meant to be sidestepped. You do have to overcome them. They're valuable golden lessons for you to work with. Now, adding to all this, as I mentioned before, the sky is always moving. It's always speaking to your natal chart and activating new challenges and ample opportunities. It also activates times of rest. And that can be really challenging. If you're a person who feels like you have to contribute to matter, you have to work to be valuable to other people. When the universe says it's time to rest and you're trying to manifest all kinds of things for you to do, that's also another challenging time that you are supposed to grow through. As a reminder, if you do not have your chart, there is a link underneath this broadcast for a free chart. There's also a link for a free PDF workbook that can help you map out how you naturally attract things to you. And what I mean by that is in this booklet, you're going to be able to see what those planets naturally attract to them, what they could have challenges with. There's also some keywords for houses and other little goodies inside of that. It's definitely meant to help you find your strengths and your planetary allies, and it could also reveal some natural challenges, but that self awareness, again, is a very powerful perspective shift, which reminds me of another quote that I love. If the doors of perception were cleansed, everything would appear to man as it is. Infinite. William Blake. All right. So, in this series, we are going to look at the seven traditional planets. We may talk about those outer ones later down the road, but for now, in the next few days, we're going to talk about the seven traditional ones. And we're going to look at what these planets naturally attract when they're in these signs and some challenges they could have. Again, that booklet, the links to it below this broadcast is going to help you absorb this information a little bit more. So don't feel like you have to take a lot of notes. And also remember that even if you're not born with these planets and these signs, I know a lot of times when we listen to these broadcasts, we just want to skip to the timestamp that says Sun and Taurus and move on. I want you to keep in mind that even if you are not born with the planets in these signs, at some point in your life, they will be or have been in that area of your life. Something to keep in mind. All right. So the first planet that we're going to work with is the sun. Now, the sun rules Leo. I want you to take a second and look at your chart or think about it. All right, so today our topic is Mars. And we're going to talk about how your Mars is always attracting in your chart and how by understanding your Mars, you can make conscious choices that work with and not against this natural ability to use this energy that you were born with. Now, Mars is one of my favorite planets because it represents action. Mars is the planet that helps you overcome imposter syndrome, or at the very least, fake it until you make it. It's that energy and courage that allows you to make that first connection with someone you admire, to show up to that first day, to interview, to apply, and show up for the first day of work looking stoic as ever, even though there's a lot of butterflies in your stomach. It gives you that courage and energy to go forward, even if you don't know what's going to happen. And like every planet, Mars has both a shadow and a light. This is energy that can work with you or against you. Now, one of the most known shadow qualities of this energy is leaning into unhealthy anger. And I say unhealthy because anger can be a powerful motivator that launches you forward and out of a rut. It helps you say, you know what, enough is enough. I'm moving forward in this direction. And then you tap into courage and action. But unhealthy anger places blame. It holds on to the emotion, but does not allow action to come from it. At least it doesn't allow positive action to come from it. It can very easily spiral you into a pattern that attracts everything that you don't want and eventually will break your will and diminish your overall motivation. So it's always important to lean into the higher vibration of Mars. Another shadow energy that could work against you is the action for the sake of action, needing to feel in control. That's a Scorpio element, or feeling as if doing something is better than nothing. That's an Aries kind of energy that you're working with. Now, doing either one of these could easily distract you from the opportunity that you are seeking, or worse, leave you too exhausted to take action when the right thing comes along. The universe and every planet comes with built in time off that rarely fits your plans. But once you learn to trust the pause that life gives you, you will find a rhythm that takes you out of society's expectations and aligns you with your soul purpose. And you will always be divinely on time, which in turn will elevate your ability to manifest what you need both consciously and unconsciously. Now, Mars governs, as we've already mentioned, action and initiative. It's about how you take action, where you find this energy. Where this energy is in your chart will reflect this. It's all about your driving ability, how you pursue your goals and your desires. It also represents aggression and conflict, which we've already touched on. Mars influences how you handle your anger, your competition, your conflict, and your fighting spirit. Do you have a short fuse or a long fuse? Are you too passive or are you too aggressive? Or do you find a great line to walk there in the middle that is only once in a while tilted to one side or the other? Mars rules energy and vitality. It's your physical energy, it's your stamina, it's your overall drive, influencing how you channel your life force. So, are you an energetic person? Are you really motivated? Or what does energetic mean to you? Have you been in the past and are you stalled now? Or have you been stalled in the past and now you're really taking action with your life? Now, Mars also rules desire and passion. Mars is associated with what you deeply desire and need and want to protect. What is an instinct and says, you know what, that is mine. Mars also rules desire and passion. It's associated with things that we are very passionate about, very possessive about. This is mine. I remember when I was writing novels, one of the key lines was "You're mine," and that was just something that just washed over the reader because the character declared that you are mine. It took that initiative, it drove forward and said, "This is what we're going to do," with a lot of passion, with a lot of rugged passion that speaks to instinct and not reason. Now, Mars also rules courage and determination, which we've touched on. It represents how brave you are, your ability to confront challenges head on, and it pushes you to overcome obstacles. Now, some of us, our charts naturally say that we think that it's easier to avoid conflict, but avoiding conflict inevitably causes conflict. And some of our charts say we love it. We're going to engage in it all the time. And because we engage in it all the time, sometimes we miss the lesson of the challenge. So there's an interesting dance, and we're always meant to find the balance in the middle. All of these energies make Mars a key planet in understanding your personal motivation, that power you have, and how you step out into the world and go after what you want. Now, just as a reminder, there's a link underneath this podcast for a free chart. And there's also a link for a free booklet with a lot of great keywords and insights about how you can use everything we're talking about on this podcast. But if you know your chart, or once you grab that chart, take a moment to consider where the house of Scorpio is and where the house of Aries is. Now, Scorpio is traditionally ruled by Mars. In modern rulership, we have Pluto that's also a ruler of Scorpio, but Aries has always been ruled by Mars. And this is an energy like think of a match striking a flame. It's ready to take action. Something is ready to be born, it's ready to exist. We don't know what's going to happen when we take that first step, but we trust our instincts. And we know that once we get there, we'll take another step and then another step. Recently, me and my husband have been rewatching the Indiana Jones movies, and I love how he says when they ask him what his plan is, he's like, "I don't know. I'm making this up as I go along." It's very classic Mars kind of energy. Now, once you've taken time to say, "Okay, this is my Aries and this is where my Scorpio house is, and this is where Mars is in my chart," if it's not an Aries and Scorpio, that's three different places at least that Mars is working through your chart. Think about how you take action or use courage, how motivated you are in those areas of your life. And then also think about your energy levels. Are they high or are they low? Do you have that ability to look at something and say, I don't understand this. I don't know what's going to happen, but I have this instinct. I have this driving motivation. I'm going to make sure I take action and get it done. Or do you doubt your instinct? Are you going through a phase of your life where instinct is not your best friend? Now, I will say that you are meant to trust yourself. And by understanding your Mars and your instinct and what it's trying to tell you, and it says, you know what, I have got your back, I've got all the courage you need, that's going to really help you get around some obstacles where fear may be holding you back. We don't ever want to surrender to fear. We want to see it as a stepping stone toward mastery. Once we face our fears, we disempower them. Now, some other things to consider that an astrologer like myself, I'd love to help you with it, could help you understand in your chart if you're new to astrology. is who Mars answers to in your chart and who does that energy answer to, and what houses and topics does that energy flow through. You would also want to think about what conversations Mars is having in the natal chart. Is it having healthy conversations or challenging conversations? And what conversations are coming up in the current transits? Do you have opportunities or challenges on the horizon? How can you tap into your natural Mars to ensure that you make the most of this? All right, with all that being said, what we're going to do now before we wrap up, we're going to talk about how Mars is activated in each of the signs. We're going to look at what it does really well and some of the things that could challenge Mars in this area. All right, so here we go. Now, if you have Mars and Aries, this is Aries' kingdom. It's its rulership. So Mars and Aries is very assertive. It's action oriented. Now, one of the things that, and this is just a natural Aries thing, you could struggle a little bit with impatience or you could be reckless. This is what I mentioned before, taking action for the sake of action or putting that trust out there and saying, this is my attention. This is what I want to bring to the universe. And then waiting about 5 minutes and getting frustrated that it didn't come. So you throw out another wish or you throw out another intention. And before you know it, all your intentions are entangled and you're not really sure what that first step should be. Now, if you have Mars in Taurus, Mars is in detriment here. And what that means is that a good way to envision this is Mars being this warrior walking into the goddess's home. It's sort of like the bull in the china shop. He doesn't feel very comfortable, like he can relax without hurting or breaking things. But that being said, Mars in Taurus is very persistent. It's very practical. It may not be quick and fast to action. It definitely has to be its own idea before it moves forward with something. But once it takes action, it's definitive, it's locked in, it is determined to see it through. So it's important to really lock in that action on something that's going to serve you well. That again, the biggest challenge is being slow to action, to observing just a little bit too long before you take a step forward. So look for a healthy balance between those two. Now, if you have Mars in Gemini, this is a mutable energy. It's adaptable to whatever situation it is in. It's very courageous and bold, quick, fast action thinking and speaking, but it could be a little bit too scattered when setting goals or focusing on intentions that it wants to put actions behind. In other words, just spread too thin, or you could be spread too thin at times, or your mind gets tired, or you get overwhelmed. And you'll know that because your nervous system will be just a little bit off. You'll be more anxious than excited when you start to step towards things that you feel that you need in this moment. Now, if you have Mars in Cancer, Mars is in fall here. So he's not very comfortable in this area either. It's sort of like boots in the kitchen, muddy boots in the kitchen. Mars in Cancer is very protective and motivated by its emotions. I love this. I nurture this. I'm going to put everything I can behind this situation because it means a lot to home and family, everything that matters, where I came from and where my legacy is going to go. But it could also be what could challenge Mars in Cancer is being passive aggressive or a little bit moody, which means that every few days, the temperament of your Mars adjusts as the moon moves through different signs throughout the zodiac. So it could be that you're really motivated one day and the next day you're not feeling as motivated on the topic as you'd like to be. Or that instead of saying something directly to someone, you kind of hint around it. Or instead of directly going after your manifestation, you say, yeah, that'd be nice. The universe wants a definitive, yes, I'm going to do this, and this is why I want to do this. Now, if you have Mars and Leo, this is a confident and driven energy, but the one thing that could really step in your way would be pride. Because Leo is a fixed energy, it's a fixed, fiery energy. And once it decides to do something, it is locked in. So it's important to lock into things that are positive and not lock into grudges or negative energies or feeling as if these people or this situation doesn't even deserve you or not being sure that you want to leap into this new direction because you don't know how you're going to be accepted. So the Mars and Leo is a creative energy. It fights with love, it fights with passion, and it uses that courage that pulled from those same wells of creativity and inspiration. One of your biggest challenges, again, in other words, could be that you do things for the sake of recognition and not for that heart-based energy. And because you do, what comes back to you with that attraction is not as aligned as you would like it to be. And if that happens, this is a great reflection for you. I am fighting for this. I am doing this because I love it, because it's coming from a soul deep place. If that is correct, then no matter what comes back to you, it's going to be perfect in the perfect timing. Now, if you have Mars in Virgo, this is a very precise way of using drive, motivation, and courage, even your anger. It's efficient, it's detailed, it's critical. It has the score. It knows exactly what you did and exactly what I did and who owes who what and what steps needs to happen next. Now, one of the ways that you can get in your own way with this energy is because Virgo can sit in anxious energy because its algorithm or the way that it's naturally looked at things knows that there are all these risks. And because it's aware of all these risks, it doesn't know what to defend and what to take action on. So with Mars and Virgo, you want to use that very precise way of taking charge, but you want to be in the moment that you're in. Ground where you are. Don't use your aggression or worry or angst about things that have not manifested. It's always good to have an action plan for things that could go wrong, but you don't want to feed fear or anger for things that haven't even occurred or may not even occur. Now, if you have Mars in Libra, this is also in detriment. So again, Libra is ruled by Venus. So we have this big warrior in the goddess's home. He's not really sure that he can relax where he's at. He doesn't feel at home there. But this energy is great for diplomacy. It's great for seeking balance. How can I help you? How can I help me? It's great for reaching across the table and having difficult conversations that a lot of other people or signs would likely be too prideful to make. It's a very strong energy. Now, the downfall, the way that this Mars and manifesting with it could work against you is being too indecisive or avoiding confrontation. Remember, your strength is being able to reach across the aisle, to reach across the table and say, how can we find a healthy compromise here so we can both grow through this situation? Now, when it comes to manifesting, it's making the decision that you're going to go forward in this area and trusting that even if that means that your current alliances are going to have to change, that you are going to find the harmony and balance that you need. That's how you can overcome the indecisiveness. Now, if you have Mars and Scorpio, this is in domicile. This is the kingdom of Mars. Mars feels at home and natural here. This is where he gets that very protective, almost possessive energy, the courage to say, I'm passionate about this. This is where we get the romantic side of Scorpio. You are mine. Now, Mars and Scorpio could be very intense and very determined, which helps it to lock in on what it wants to manifest and attract it to it like a magnet. Now, the downfall or the struggle could be negative obsession, focusing on something that is unhealthy and blocking the manifestation that they want to bring in. Having the courage to let go of something that's no longer serving them so they can step into something that is aligned with who they are becoming. That would be one of the biggest challenges there. All right. So if you have Mars in Sagittarius, this is a very adventurous, that's always going to be a Sagittarius where it likes to explore the boundaries. It's not afraid of the boundaries. It likes to bluntly speak its truth, to seek wisdom. And it's optimistic that once it does and everything's out on the table, we're all going to find a way to work with this situation. So Mars in Sagittarius helps you kind of shoot for the moon and say, you know what, I'm gonna take that long shot. And more times than not, Mars in Sagittarius is not only going to be able to land on the bullseye, but they're going to be able to conquer it once they get there. And then they're going to get bored and want to send another arrow out into another direction, which could be one of their downfalls. Either they are like, you know what, that looks great over there, and they aim for it and they put all of their manifestations in that direction. And once it comes into their reality, they're like, you know what, you are not exactly what I thought you were going to be. And so they let it go. In other words, it's putting a situation, person, place, or thing on a pedestal only to realize that it didn't deserve to be on the pedestal and then having to re-aim the arrow and go in a different direction. So as you may have heard me mention in some of the other videos so far, it's really important with Mars and Sagittarius to ensure that this is a soul deep desire that you're trying to manifest and you're not manifesting it for the sake of manifesting it, because whatever you send out is going to come back to you, and how it comes back to you is a reflection of how aligned it is or is not with that soul deep ambition and purpose that you have. Now, if you have Mars in Capricorn, this energy is in exaltation, which means that it is crowned in this area of your life. It loves being in Capricorn because Saturn, which rules Capricorn, has structures and systems. It has a long term vision goal, and all it needs is that action and courage of Mars to make it happen and ensure that everything stays aligned. So, Mars in Capricorn, the biggest strength that you have is being disciplined and goal oriented. If you have a workout regimen, your neighbors, everyone around you is going to be in absolute awe because rain or shine, you're going to make sure that you do exactly what you said that you were going to do. It's all about delayed gratification for you. You know, hard work pays off. It's a great place to have this energy. Now, one of the downfalls or ways that you can get in your way is by being overly controlling of the situation. Say you can't go on your morning run because it's snowing and icy outside. Because you couldn't do that, you're very grumpy for the rest of the day, or everything just kind of falls apart. You're so attached to that situation or so locked in thinking, if I don't do this and this can't happen, that you are unconsciously controlling the outcome of your day, saying that it's going to be a bad one. Now, another energy which kind of plays into this is just being too rigid, too locked into the outcome that you want to see. So you want to have the flexibility. You want to have that cardinal energy to say, well, if it's not this, then it's that. If I'm not supposed to run today, why can't I do this instead? Or if that date, that meeting, that launch didn't work, what will work for me? Because Mars gives you the action that you need, and Capricorn Saturn gives you the discipline that you need to make sure that it happens. Now, if you have Mars in Aquarius, Aquarian words are innovative. They're all about independence. They are rebels with and without a cause. And Mars gives you all the energy that you need to step outside of not only your comfort zone, but most of the time society's comfort zone and ask, what if? What if we tried it this way? What if we did it this way? Great inventors, great ways to call in things or rearrange things that have always been in place into a new concept. You have that natural ability to take action towards that. Now, some of the things that could work against you is being a little bit locked into a way that you thought something had come out, wanting to control the outcome because it is a fixed energy. It says, well, this is how it needs to happen. If it doesn't manifest that way, not trusting the manifestation or trying to take control of the situation. And again, and this is almost a key word for Aquarius too, you could work against yourself by being just a little bit too detached. It's sort of like you put something on automation, you put it on autopilot, and you thought it was going to take care of itself. You didn't put any more action or courage or motivation behind it. And then you're wondering why it didn't go anywhere. It's important to detach and allow the universe to do its work, but you also need to nurture what you are trying to manifest. And with this energy, it's putting the motivation behind it because Mars is about motivation. Now, if you have Mars in Pisces, this is a creative, imaginative energy. It's very compassionate. It's also very spiritual, and spiritual could be a lot of different things. You could be spiritually connected to raising horses and being all around nature. You could be spiritually connected to a divine faith or a belief system, writing something, singing something. There is something that you are divinely connected to that you feel called to do. And Mars gives you an inherent courage to take action towards whatever this is. You're able to step into the unknown or create worlds and realms and dimensions in your mind and invite other people to come in and explore these ideas that help us all see that, yes, we are all one energy working together. Now, your biggest challenge when manifesting with Mars and Pisces is being a little bit too passive or having a lack of direction. You might be like, you know what, it's easier not to stir the pot. Conflict is not worth it. I'm all about love. But I will tell you, Pisces, as I tell all the Pisces in my life, avoiding conflict creates it. So having the courage to fight for what you believe in, to protect it, to show it honor is exactly how you can activate the perfect ways to manifest with Mars in Pisces. All right. That is all of the signs and how Mars is activated throughout them. I do hope you found some helpful tips and insights. Again, there's a free chart, there's a free booklet, there's other videos on other planets that you can tap into to go even deeper into how you manifest as an individual, to understand how you are consciously and unconsciously manifesting in your natal chart, but also how the current cosmic transits are activating your natal chart and the natal promise, that sense of purpose, the reason that you are here. All right, so this series is not over. The next planet that we're going to be talking about is Jupiter. I'll see you then. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I do hope you found some tips and insights. Please don't forget to hit like and subscribe so you can find this podcast in the future. You can also connect with me at schedulingfate.com. Look forward to seeing you there and next time.